Lu Fan was still lost in his thoughts as he continued flying across the ice field of despair. The frozen valley was already close. He was only a short distance away from reaching the mountain gorge. Suddenly, Xiaoji felt a strange sense of unease. His expression stiffened as he looked around nervously. Then he quickly turned toward Lu Fan and said, "Hey, what is that?" Seeing Xiaoji's reaction, Lu Fan immediately became alert. "Xiaoji, did you notice something?" he asked seriously. At that moment, the status window suddenly appeared in front of them. Monster name, Ice Field Worm. Level 120. These creatures lived in large swarms and looked like terrifying beasts hidden beneath the snow. Individually, they were not the strongest monsters, but they were extremely dangerous because they always relied on overwhelming numbers to defeat their enemies. According to the system information, their main ability was called Snow Burrow. This skill allowed the ice field worms to tunnel rapidly through the snow beneath the ice field, moving silently toward their target. Once they reached the location, they would suddenly burst out from beneath the snow, dragging enemies out of position and dealing powerful frost damage. As the terrifying monster appeared before Lu Fan with all its might, Lu Fan didn't waste a moment. A faint glow flashed in his eyes, and in the next moment, he immediately summoned Jin Chan and Bao Bao, his two powerful dragons. With a bright flash, the two dragons appeared. Their massive forms stretched across the sky, and their roars echoed throughout the area. "Attack!" Lu Fan ordered without hesitation. Always ready for battle, Bao Bao transformed into world-destroying thunder form instantly. As soon as he released his power, the 3,300,000 heavenly world-destroying thunder form fully activated. As soon as the form appeared, a terrifying crackle of lightning resounded around him. Lightning flashed across the sky as if awaiting his command. This was no ordinary lightning. This was Bao Bao's core power, known as Bright Yellow Jade. This power instantly increased the power of all his blue pragma skills by 100%. Furthermore, every time he unleashed a lightning spell, a glowing thunder circle would form at the target. Any enemy trapped within that circle would suffer crippling damage. But some insects and animals still survived. Sensing danger, they immediately activated their ice-tunneling power and escaped beneath the ice. This was the primary power of the fur-filled worms. As soon as a worm hid in an icy area, it could suddenly tunnel through the ice and emerge at any target location. As soon as it emerged, the intense icy energy would inflict severe damage on all nearby enemies. All the worms adopted this strategy. They hid beneath the ice, protected themselves, and prepared to attack again. But Lu Fan immediately saw through their ruse. He stepped forward and stood before them, shouting loudly, "So you're an ice worm! If so, you can hide beneath the ice!" He then immediately ordered GG. "GG, transform into World Destroyer form right now! Use your lava power and fight me!" In the next moment, Lu Fan and GG's powers merged. Together, they activated the power of the World Destroyer Chrome and simultaneously began spewing fire. That fire was no ordinary one. It was so fierce and intense that within seconds, all the surrounding ice began to melt. The frozen ground turned into boiling lava, and the entire area was engulfed in flames. Even the insects hiding beneath the ice were no longer safe. Lu Fan unleashed a single devastating attack, and all the hidden insects were consumed by the fire. In a matter of moments, almost no enemies remained. Lu Fan looked at Bao Bao and said calmly, "I've almost wiped them all out. The rest are yours." Just then, Jin Chen stood up. He immediately activated his Star Path power. It was a power that radiated a continuous blazing starlight across an area as vast as the galaxy. Other skills could also be used during this effect, and stars would continue to fall from the sky until this power was stopped. As Jin Chen began to shine, the sky suddenly filled with light. The next moment, countless stars began falling from the sky. The remaining insects were hit by the starfall one by one. In a matter of seconds, they began to die in agony. Then suddenly, a status window flashed in the air. Lu Fan's level had increased, level 77. Lu Fan slowly rose into the air. His eyes held a cold and murderous gleam. He looked around and said in a calm voice, "Okay, we've eliminated all the enemies. Now, we should rest here for a while." The battle was over. After the battle ended, Lu Fan decided to rest there for the evening. Looking at his dragons, he calmly gave them instructions. "We'll rest here tonight," he said, "and tomorrow we'll cross the frozen mountains, and after that we should reach the Ice Dragon Ruin Zone." The dragons nodded and settled down, preparing for the long journey ahead. The next morning, Lu Fan and the dragons prepared to move forward again. However, the moment they started flying, Lu Fan suddenly realized something was wrong. The temperature had dropped drastically. The cold had become far more intense than before. Almost all of his dragons began shivering uncontrollably in the freezing air. Even Lu Fan felt the biting chill pierce through his body. He frowned and thought to himself, "This freezing air is unbelievably strong. It feels like it could freeze someone's lungs just by breathing." Then another thought crossed his mind. Why is it so cold here? There's no wind at Itasaints, and it isn't even snowing, and how is this possible? Just then, a notification suddenly appeared on his status window. Ice Dragon Frozen Domain. Area status, Unexplored Region. Area level, 120. Lu Fan narrowed his eyes as he looked around the icy land. If this place is called the Ice Dragon Frozen Domain, he thought, then the ruins of the Ice Dragon must be somewhere nearby. At that moment, his gaze shifted toward Xiaoji. She was shivering badly, her body trembling uncontrollably from the extreme cold. Concerned, Lu Fan asked, "Hey Xiaoji, are you all right? It looks like you really don't like this cold." Seeing her condition, Lu Fan quickly made a decision. He immediately gave an order to all the dragons. "Oh, all right, everyone, return for now." Then he reassured them. "Don't worry, we'll reach a warmer place soon. You don't have to force yourselves to endure this cold just to follow me. As soon as I reach somewhere warm, I'll summon you all again." The moment he finished speaking, Xiaoji immediately opened a portal. Without hesitation, she stepped through it and returned to her resting space. After some time, Lu Fan continued flying forward alone. Eventually, he arrived at a strange and mysterious location. The moment he entered the area, he suddenly felt an unsettling sensation, as if something about this place was not quite right. Lu Fan suddenly noticed something strange ahead of him. He stopped for a moment, trying to understand what he was seeing. As he looked more carefully, a disturbing feeling crept into his heart. The air around him had become unnaturally silent, as if danger was hiding in every corner, waiting to strike. Then suddenly, a massive block of ice appeared right in front of him. When Lu Fan moved closer to examine it, he froze in shock for nearly a full minute. Inside the enormous block of ice, a dragon was trapped. The dragon was completely frozen, its entire body sealed within the ice as if it had been imprisoned there for countless years. But then, as if sensing Lu Fan's presence, the dragon suddenly began to move. Cracks spread rapidly across the ice. Within seconds, the frozen prison shattered apart, and the dragon burst out of it, releasing a thunderous roar that echoed across the frozen land. Lu Fan immediately glanced at his status window. Creature name, Ice Dragon Corpse of Spirit. Level 120. It was an extremely powerful being, possessing terrifying abilities such as frozen necrosis and restless death. The moment Lu Fan and his entire dragon team saw it, a wave of tension spread among them. Lu Fan instantly realized that his worst fear had come true. The danger he had been sensing was real. This creature was the spiritual form of a dead ice dragon. When Lu Fan looked around carefully, he felt a chill run down his spine. Everywhere he looked, the same horrifying scene repeated itself. All around the frozen landscape, dragons were trapped inside giant blocks of ice, just like the one that had just broken free. Lu Fan immediately understood. He didn't have even a second to waste. Without hesitation, he issued an order. "Blue Dragon, enter World Destroy form and unleash your thunderbolts immediately." The blue dragon roared and instantly transformed, gathering enormous lightning energy in the sky. At the same time, Lu Fan realized that they had now stepped directly into the heart of the danger. He quickly turned to the other two dragons. "Ha! Bao Bao! Jing Chan! Fight with everything you've got!" The two dragons activated their abilities and let out powerful echoing roars. Jing Chan immediately unleashed Storm of Ice Crystals. A violent storm of razor-sharp ice shards erupted into the air, creating a swirling blizzard that attacked every enemy within its range. Meanwhile, Lu Fan gathered the dragon's power into his own body. He clenched his fist tightly and rushed straight toward the terrifying dragon. The power he was using was known as Dragon Taming Aura. This ability activated the Black Dragon bloodline, granting all his subsequent attacks additional fire damage and applying a special effect known as World Rebel to his enemies. With blazing power gathering around his fist, Lu Fan charged forward to confront the Ice Dragon Corpse spirit. Jing Chan immediately unleashed the power of Divine Bone Descent and attacked with lightning-fast speed. Without wasting a single moment, he immediately followed up with another devastating ability, Star Annihilation. This terrifying skill transformed starlight into concentrated laser beams, unleashing immense destructive power. Within mere seconds, the surrounding ice dragons, which stood as tall as frozen mountains, were completely obliterated. However, Lu Fan soon realized something troubling. They haven't been completely destroyed, he thought. Their regeneration process hasn't fully ceased. If allowed to reform, the battle would simply begin anew. Lu Fan reacted instantly. Blue Dragon, move out! The blue dragon surged forward and activated the power of luminous yellow jade. This ability boosted the potency of all the blue dragon skills by 100%, and after every lightning spell, it generated a protective shield of electricity around the dragon. At that very moment, Lu Fan shouted, "Attack now!" Bao Bao immediately unleashed his terrifying ability, 13 million heavenly world-shattering roar. A violent storm erupted in the heavens as 3.3 million world-shattering bolts of lightning rained down upon the targeted area. In just a few brief moments, every enemy was reduced to ash. When the storm finally subsided, Bao Bao calmly reverted to his normal form. As always, he looked thoroughly satisfied. He truly reveled in crushing his enemies in battle. Soon, the status window appeared. Lu Fan's level 78. Blue Dragon's level enhanced. Surveying the battlefield, Lu Fan frowned slightly. Even now, there was still no trace of the Ice Dragon ruins anywhere nearby. So what exactly were those wandering souls guarding? Out of curiosity, Lu Fan approached a broken shard of ice lying nearby. Inside it, he spotted something strange, something that was faintly glowing. As he took a closer look, his eyes widened in astonishment. Wait, this is the very thing those souls were protecting. It was a ring. Lu Fan immediately checked the details via his status window. Item name, Ice Dragon Ring. Quality, Mythical Tier. The description revealed something even more shocking. Requires no specific level to equip. Increases ice elemental damage. Enhances freezing effects. Lu Fan couldn't suppress a smile. This is an incredible item. At that very moment, crack! The frozen shell of ice suddenly shattered. The shard of ice crumbled apart, and the ring fell directly into Lu Fan's hands. Lu Fan grasped it firmly and clenched his fist. "All right," he declared with absolute confidence. "Let's continue our search for the Ice Dragon ruins."